Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, and on episode 104 of the American Reveille Podcast, we're bringing Hugo Goerner back on. That's right, Hugo Goerner is the author of United States Socialist Republic, the liberal Marxist machine, and the men, method, and means to fundamentally transform America. Now, we've had him on the show before. We've talked about his book before, and you can get a copy of his book below in the description section, but we brought him on for something different. You see, the radical Congress and the completely divided Senate, basically the partisan Democrat, we could practically say socialist, controlled government, the legislatures, right? They are pushing policies to fundamentally change American life forever. If anything, to see the destruction of our country. All right. And these policies absolutely support not only keeping the Democrats in power forever, but not only facilitating, but bolstering their dirty operations. So we talk about the border crisis. We talk about the migrant caravans and the kids in the cages. We talk about how the money moves around. We talk about our school systems, the corruption. We hit the nail on the head, guys. All right. So if you're looking for a fun conversation, if you're looking for a good time where we have a couple laughs, but we get to the serious subject matter, we ask some good questions, and we really just dig for what the hell is actually going on, then this is the episode for you. All right, guys, this isn't a solo cast. We have a guest on this show. Hugo's on, and we are going live in 3, 2, 1.
A lady who said, "Oh, give me more of those flyers. I want to pass them out." You know, you're the only one that's actually doing something. They see a lot of people that bitch, but you know, you got to kind of get off your rusty dusty and get out there and start the conversation. And that's what you do, and that's what I'm trying to do.
That's the only way we actually get the word out about what's really happening. We're on the air, by the way. How you doing, Hugo?
I'm doing pretty good, Jim. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Welcome back. We had a really good conversation the first time.
How's the weather up there?
It's raining. It's always raining. It's the Seattle area, so it's always.
Well, today was a beautiful day. I tried to get out on the golf course, but I got stuck by doing some research.
Dude, I'm telling you, we're looking at Tampa. We keep looking at Tampa. We're just like, my wife's from the Philippines, and we're just like, beaches. We're sitting up here in the Seattle area. Antifa's like throwing rocks at cops and stuff. We're like, Florida sounds kind of nice right about now.
Move down here to California. I'll take care of you.
Oh, I'm good. I was stationed in San Diego when I was in the Navy. I had my fix. I'm good. I miss the burritos, and that's about it. So for those who don't know, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Well, my name is Hugo Goerner, Hugo G. Goerner III, and I basically I'm a former appointed public official, and my whole premise is I wrote this book.
That book or this book?
This one right here.
Not this one.
That's it.
Right
United
What's that book
States
called?
Socialist Republic. And that's where it all got started. But believe it or not, I'm a former appointed public official, and I know how the government works. And to be honest with you, it's what we're seeing. The book was designed to bring out, to do a couple of things. Number one, bring out the conversation about, and this is it's really interesting what happened just in the last couple of days.
Well, what's the book about, though, real quick?
Well, it's
we keep everybody.
Where it starts on chapter 1 is about how the Marxist culture, the Marxists in this country, the neo-Marxists and liberals who hide, or Marxists who hide under the liberal banner, I call them liberal Marxists, are actually pushing America to the left so hard. And the way they're doing it, and I identify it in the book in the first chapter, they're going after our children. They've been on an assault after our children for over 35 years. And on the first chapter, page 1, I identify the person that really kicked this assault, this Marxist assault on our children into high gear. And I identify a few other things within the book about how it's lurching to the left and getting to the point. Right now, we stand on the very precipice of the country, especially with what's happening with H.R. 1, H.R. 8, 1446, where the country can be physically if H.R. 1, let's just say this, if H.R. 1.
And for everybody who's listening that doesn't know what H.R. 1 is, H.R. 1 is that's the For the People Act, correct? That's the voting one?
House Resolution 1. Primarily what this wants to do, there's a couple of real strong points. One, it is designed to get the Democratic control in a position by making Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico states where the Democrat Party in this country will seize control and keep control for decades.
When I read about that in your book, it was absolutely freaky. I read that and I thought about that. I put two and two together. I looked at the available information and I thought, man, this guy's on to something. Yeah, I really did. And so tell everybody really quick, because this episode's going to keep rolling like a steamroller. I'm sure of it, because we have so much information to put out, Tell everybody where to get your book, Hugo.
You can go to Amazon. If you search Amazon, and you have to go to the book department, I guess, we'll have to send them a link. But
there'll be a link in the description section, everybody. When this is over, I'll make sure. I'm just telling everybody, there'll be a link in the description section below. If you want to find Hugo's book, just look in the description section. You can go on Amazon as well, right? Because I searched it there under United States Socialist Republic. I did search it there and did find it. So
some people were having a little bit of trouble finding it, but apparently that's improved. But primarily now, James, what I've started is EPAC.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what's EPAC? Oh, that's a pretty cool seal. I like that. I like that with the red.
Yep.
And the stars. What's that say? Future.
Kind of glary there a little bit.
Future for the preservation of. Say that.
EPAC stands for ensure the preservation of America and our Constitution.
Okay. Ensure the preservation of America and the Constitution. I just want to make sure everybody heard that.
If you'll put the link at the end of this conversation with you, you can put the link Preserving America EPAC.com. That'll take you right to the website.
Okay. Preserving America EPAC.com. Yeah, I'll make sure it's in the description section.
Great. And we have actually a mission statement. Our mission statement involves, well, first off, let's make the mission statement. We peacefully and righteously, in accordance with the rule of law, resolve to secure, and there are 10 items on the website that we want to preserve and protect. The first item on the list is the Constitution, as written and interpreted, and there's 9 others. However, the reason I put this together is what I'm trying to do is in a peaceful and legal way.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hugo. Excuse me. I thought I was going to fall off the chair.
There you go. In a peaceful and legal and righteous way, we want to preserve the Constitution. Let me be specific.
Yeah.
My book, it says right down here at the bottom, the liberal Marxist machine in this country want to fundamentally transform this country into some vision that they think it's going to be so much better. I believe it in my heart. America was ordained, and I'm going to be. Just give me a second, and I want to explain something. And I put this in the title of EPAC. For thousands and thousands of years, there were Europe and Asia and Africa and Australia. These continents were full of people, and Rome built huge buildings and colosseums, and there was people, Aristotle and Galileo in Europe, and they were advancing. But all this time, and this is the stunning part, America, James, is still and will always be the new world. America has only been around for since but 500 years.
Yeah, a couple hundred years. I mean, everybody out there that's a nitpicker is going to say, "Oh, America's." Oh, yeah, we get it. We're making an example here. We're not saying that America just appeared out of nowhere, but when it was discovered by the known world at the time, yeah, it's barely a couple hundred years.
And the point that I'm trying to make is, how did America, this plot of earth that we call America, how did it become so strong? And so why in the heck do billions of people, if you gave them $20 in a ticket, they would come here? There's got to be a reason. And guess
it's got to be the freedom.
Well, and the freedom and all of it that America provides. Mm-hmm. That's why, and that's what we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Sure.
We're under basically an assault. But the point that I really want to make about EPAC is mm-hmm. that EPAC is designed to get those people that didn't vote in the last election and bring them out and say, hey, get involved. A very good friend of mine who passed away a couple of years ago was a member of Mensa. His name is Neil Andrews. He was a mayor of the city that I lived in here. And you have to be in the top 2%.
You're in Cali, right?
Pardon me?
You're in California,
I'm
correct?
In Ventura County, California, exactly.
Okay.
The point is, Neil was in the top 2%. And he says, in order to win an election, you've got to get people engaged. That people, what we want in the last election, there were only about 68% of the voting Republicans in America voted. So what we've got, I want to get another 12 or 15%. And that's that's the target where I'm at. I want to legally and righteously and peacefully get these people off their rusty dusty and help us get back at least the House or the Senate or both and the White House. We've got to have it balanced. Having said that, if we do not, if we sit on our rusty dusties and you and I are involved, but there's a lot of people, and this is a very, very serious point, James, that I'm about to make. With the election that just went on, and I don't care, you could be deaf, dumb, and blind, and you would know and you would feel it, that something happened here. And I'm not going to accuse anybody, but something really wrong went on. And it has to do with the election fraud.
It definitely feels fishy.
Yep.
I'll tell you that.
And the thing is,
you're not alone feeling like that.
What has happened is the public trust has been violated. And if it gets worse, guess what? People are not going to turn out in droves. They've lost complete confidence in the system. And we, as Republicans, it is our responsibility to restore the public trust in this country and our government. I have friends that care about this country, and millions and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have fought and died for this country because of what it is. And I'm not going to let them go, their deaths and their sacrifice go to waste. That's what I'm trying to do.
We all share your sentiment, and it's respectable and it's understandable. But, at the same time, we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of rhinos we got to get out. There's a lot of people that need to be primaried. There's a lot of weak Republicans that may not be rhinos, but they have no will to fight. You remember what Lincoln said about U.S. Grant in the Civil War. People wanted him to get rid of Grant. And the biggest problem Lincoln had was everybody stalled. Nobody acted. Nobody made any decisions. And he said, I need this man. We have to keep him. He fights. We don't have fighters. We have some new blood and a couple people out there fighting the good fight, but the rest, when I look at Mitch McConnell, the turtle Mitch McConnell, when I look at Chai Car Mitch over there, all I see is Nancy Pelosi with a face mask on. They're the same person. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think we have an issue. We have a lot of things to talk about.
Pelosi doesn't care one iota about anything. But even more so, and this is what I really wanted to talk to you about today is about what is happening at the border. And real briefly, before I'm going to set this in motion.
Sure.
When you have excuse me,
an
organization that is willing, or a huge demographic that is willing to subjugate basically the sovereignty of a country or of our country.
Yeah.
That is a dangerous demographic. And what they're trying to do is eliminate the borders. What constitutes a nation's sovereignty? Well,
you have to have a nation.
Sovereignty is its borders.
Well, you don't have a nation if you don't have borders, right?
Correct.
It's undefined.
And a border is only as good as the people protecting it. And these people don't want to protect these borders. And here's the problem. What I've discovered, and I think this is out there, but you kind of have to dig it out. I've got probably, I would say, a pile of data, piles of data. One of the things I want to point out is that these people in the last, well, since Biden became elected, we now have not thousands, we have tens of thousands of people on the border, both on the south side and on the north side, and coming into America because the Customs and Border Patrol in this country, or protection, they don't have the infrastructure to facilitate all this. And here's one of the things. You've got to people.
Real quick, I just did an episode yesterday about there being 15,000 children already. 15,000 kids being held at the border. And that's just that one area. And then they're getting tens of thousands in on a weekly basis.
Along the border, there's almost 250,000.
Yeah.
I'm serious. They're sitting there waiting to get vetted, and so that they can get into the country.
What's a good, people have to understand the sheer vast number that 250,000 is. I mean, when you see a packed Madison Square Garden, that's 50, 60,000 people.
That's
a quarter, a 250,000 is an unimaginable amount of people at the border. And I don't care what country you are. You could be China in the year 3022 in outer space. You can't take in that many immigrants. There's no logistical way to do it in a logical or expedient manner.
And one of the things, and the point that you're making is because the infrastructure is not there.
Yep.
The infrastructure was caught off guard because Biden says, okay, we're going to try to give you a path to amnesty. There's always been a path to citizenship.
Did you see what?
There's always been a path to citizenship.
Yep.
People have been coming to this country. They follow the path. They do what they need to do. Guess what? Within a relatively decent amount of time, they become citizens.
Oh yeah. Look, my wife has a green card. My wife's on the path to legal citizenship. She's from the Philippines. There's nothing wrong with people doing it the right way. I have a question for you. I want to know what you think about something. I keep hearing the left blaming this border crisis, and they won't even call it a border crisis. They keep blaming it on Donald Trump. And basically what they said was there was an immigration system in place, right, before Trump, Obama's immigration system. And because he dismantled that and replaced it with his inhumane system, this is coming from Nancy Pelosi and all those jackwagons, they're saying that because he replaced it with his and dismantled the old one, when they dismantled his immigration system and replaced it with theirs, it was ultimately failing already. Basically, they're saying that Trump is the reason why the system is failing at the border. And if it wasn't for Trump and he would have never touched the immigration policies, this wouldn't be happening and everything would be fine. I want to know what your opinion is on that.
This is the constant lie, the constant false narrative that place blame rather every other place than where it actually it is. Here's the truth of the matter. The infrastructure is designed only for a certain amount of people per day. We have part of that infrastructure is the resources, the manpower. You have so many people and they can only push people through at a certain rate. They have to go through a certain checks, vetted, medical, this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They have to do that individually. When you only have a certain, it's so funny. About a year and a half ago, I went down to Yuma, and I'm a credentialed journalist, and I'm a former appointed public official. And guess what? I went down and interviewed some people at this Customs and Border Patrol agency on the border. And he says that was back then when Trump was doing pretty good and things were under control to a certain extent, only maybe 1,000 people. We have 6,000 people coming into one particular port of call at
It's
one
crazy.
gate. These are not counting the people that they're finding on the road, thousands and thousands. And here's the point that I want to make.
Yeah.
This whole thing, they want to blame it's all Trump's fault. Well, I guarantee you, it's so funny. It's so funny. And actually, it's really, really sad because they just admit that the infrastructure that they have there cannot handle that flood of people. And it's nobody's to blame.
Well, they're afraid. They're afraid if they do anything against the narrative, they're almost going to cancel themselves out. They're walking such a tight rope.
They don't want to deal with the reality. They want to place the blame on Donald Trump. And Donald Trump could be over playing golf, and guess what? It's his fault that my pie fell on the floor.
It's ridiculous. So before we try to get to the bottom of this a little bit, why don't you tell everybody, because a lot of people don't really understand. They go, okay, well, there's a bunch of illegals coming in. They're fleeing. Are they not fleeing? Why can't we handle them? What's gonna, those are the jobs that none of us want, or what are they gonna? Why is all of this hoopla a big deal? Why is it? Why? Well, not just why is so many people coming. We understand, and we'll get into that. But why is it a big deal? There's a lot of people out there that aren't very educated on politics and not even politics, but on economics and on how a lot of things work, maybe outside of their state, their city, their hometown, different things like that. So if we have a flood of all these immigrants coming in, how does that negatively affect this country? And then one more thing, even further than that, Hugo. All right. If Joe Biden goes through and legalizes 13 million aliens on top of that, what does that do? Yeah. What does that do? So before you get into that, tell us real quick, what is the problem? Why is it a big deal? Why is it bad that 250,000 people come into this country illegally?
Okay. Well, the sudden influx of that many people, let's put it in the right context. Here's the reality.
Let's take our time with it.
Okay. A country's sovereignty depends on control at the border. We have strict controls that there is a policy in place right now that we are only allow a certain amount of people into this country every year. If people are seeking asylum, what is happening now is they've got this idea, I'm fleeing, I'm concerned for my safety. I have to flee my country to protect me and my family. That flood of people, number one, puts a tremendous strain on the infrastructure, puts a tremendous strain on the financial infrastructure, and guess what? It puts a tremendous strain on the local towns and cities where these people are living, and guess what? And occupying. On both sides of the border, there's border towns on the north side in America that are being flooded with migrants that are just hanging out in the weeds.
So they're just being released there? Or are they just escaping there or breaking into there? What's happening?
If you look, here's the problem. The press will not show you the information there. In fact, there's a gag order now.
So real quick, if we're in a border town in Arizona and 300 illegal immigrants are dropped off in the town, what does that do to the town?
They scatter. Just 300.
Well, they scatter, but what do they do to the town? Like, there's got to be some good people that come, I'm sure.
I'm sure there was probably the vast majority of those 300 people are caring, hardworking people, but there's about 20% of them that don't give a darn, and they're going to thieve, rob, pillage, and burn.
Yep. We can't take that chance. I don't think that's safe. I have little girls. If I'm living in a border town and my 10-year-old is walking to school, and 9 of those immigrants that are waiting in the town are good people with kids that are loving people, and the 10th one happens to be Uncle Javier who likes to touch little kids.
It's worse than that.
We have a problem.
A gentleman who just arrested in a Texas border town for I can't remember the offense, but it was, I believe it was rape. I can't remember, but all you have to do is do some digging. But more importantly,
was that the one with the two girls? They killed him. If that was the guy, there was a
Yes.
police almost apprehension of a illegal immigrant in a southern border town. Yeah, he was accused of raping, he was arrested before for raping 2 young girls, and the cops killed him. And I think I remember that actually because I put a post the other day. I know that it was a rough day for everybody, and I said, hey, we got some good news today. We have some good news today. The cops did their job and took out a child molester.
And but more importantly, it's imagine 1,000 people coming to your home, coming to your home, say, hey, can you give us some food? We need a place to sleep. Here's a really good one. In Algeria,
yes,
between Libya and Morocco, thousands and thousands of Algerians are fleeing to getting across the Mediterranean, getting into France, and they're living in the woods outside of France. These towns just outside Calais.
They're like, they have like tent communities, or they're living there like
Correct.
Werewolves.
Correct.
Okay.
Some of them don't even have tents.
Jeez, they're just
that's in Europe, and this is going all over Europe. But we have this problem here in America. There's tents all up and down the border of people waiting to get vetted, trying to get in here.
That doesn't seem as good as Trump's old policy of sending them to back to their country, or if they were in danger, to neighboring countries that would safely harbor them,
Where do these people, they have to be fed?
Yeah.
Where do they use the facilities? Take showers?
That's the most frustrating thing, I think, for a lot of us, right? That's the most frustrating thing, I think, for a lot of us, because they're bringing them in. They don't have food. No one's COVID testing them for all the hoopla and all the BS they gave us about COVID, about masks and about social distancing and testing and all that. It seems that they get a free pass. They have special privileges.
Well, the only reason they got a free pass is because they don't want to deal with it. They got to get them out and get them in.
So they
go on, kick it, and just kick them in the butt and let it. Here's a major important thing. A lot of these people don't have prospects at all. None here in America.
People are going to end up suffering in the long run. They're going to suffer in the long run. A lot of these kids.
Certainly they are. They're living on the outskirts. And it's really dangerous. But here's the thing I really want to point on, and it's absolutely stunning. There's these people that are down in Honduras. And these
well, before we get to, I know what you're gonna, because we're gonna bring up how and why they're coming here, where it's coming from, and different things. But really quick, before we get into that, I want to ask something about these migrants, right? The immigrants coming up and how so Trump sets his border policies, right?
Yep.
They don't do this. They tried some caravans before, it didn't happen, and it kind of died down. Correct. Biden comes in, right? So Biden, and this can kind of lead into where I think you were going anyway. But Biden, he opens the border. He says, "Don't come," with a wink. Please don't come, right? And now we've got 250,000 people there. They're wearing Biden T-shirts
with the Biden presidential logo that he used to.
Yep, they've got food, they got water. Some of them traveled thousands of miles, right? 250,000 people. That sounds like a pretty expensive trip for people from third world countries without a pot to piss in. So Hugo, you said that EPAC was going to inform people, going to wake people up. They're going to enlighten people, right?
Well, that's what we're going to start doing.
So enlighten me, please. Enlighten me. Where in the holy hell, where in the blue hell are people from Guatemala that just came from a place with a dirt floor that were skinning, a chicken, with their bare hands?
Yep.
Where did they get a Biden freaking presidential seal T-shirt and a camel pack and some new Nikes, and where? We got to talk about that. Tell me.
Pueblo sin fronteras.
Pueblo sin fronteras. Tell us about that. What is that?
Place, country without borders, basically.
Okay, so it's there. I'm not going to be able to go there and get a chili relleno burrito.
No,
Okay.
It's not a restaurant.
I'm sorry.
Pueblo Sin Fronteras is a nonprofit organization out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And this basically, this comes from a couple of years ago. They're still in business, and believe it or not, and I'm going to make some claims here, but I'm going to start with the facts right now, and then I'll get into the claims. They provide infrastructure along the way. Basically, this organization gets grants from large donators. I'll get into that in a minute. Pueblo Sin Fronteras would literally get a group of people that are part of this organization. They would go down to Guatemala, the El Salvador, Honduras, and they would tell these people, hey, if you're going to make this trip, here's some information along the way that you're going to need, because if you're going to walk, and I'm going to make this, so it's this whole,
I get it.
You heard about the caravans. This is all orchestrated and financed and managed by organizations like Pueblo Sin Fronteras and others that have not been basically identified yet. But the money comes from us. When we make donations, and not so much us, I didn't donate to any of these organizations.
All right.
But there is a behemoth in this country of nonprofit corporate entities that are basically left, or what the new term is, left of center, meaning they can go left as far as you want. The point is,
it's undefined. It's undefined. They can go wherever.
Correct. They just left of center. And the point is that this money that the money, I'd have to dig through this. I've got the numbers I could dig out again, but millions of dollars, and I don't know the exact numbers, but Pueblo Sin Fronteras gets grants in the millions of dollars to help the refugees.
So are these nonprofit groups getting government grants and then using that government money, like taxpayer money, or are they just pure donations?
Very rarely will these nonprofits get government
So
grants.
It's private funding.
It is private, exactly.
Would you say people are being hoodwinked on the left to donate, or are you thinking that these are rich, wealthy, and foreign people?
These are rich, wealthy leftists that want to help the poor refugees.
So they're rich, wealthy leftists that are being fooled by rich, wealthy, corrupt leftists.
Well, and believe it or not, and that's what I want to talk to you. That's what it is. There's a huge number, an enormous demographic in this country that really want to turn America socialist. They want this country.
I think it's kind of obvious America at this point. If people can't see that now, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is that they donate their money to an organization like the Tides Foundation. Just for the heck of it.
Well, what's the Tides Foundation?
The Tides Foundation is
they're not washing my pants, are they?
No, they're not. Oh my goodness.
Hey, look, I had to.
The Tides Foundation is a behemoth. It is a large nonprofit organization and is worth at this particular time about $500 million.
Jeez.
And they give away millions of dollars every year to dozens, and actually I think the list is like over 1,000 organizations, nonprofits,
oh my gosh,
that they give millions of dollars to. Pueblo Sin Fronteras is one of those organizations, and it is basically Pueblo Sin Fronteras. We're going to call them Pueblo for short.
Sure.
Pueblo is a humanitarian organization. We're here to help the refugees. Yes, they are. But it is designed for one purpose: to put so much in this. Listen to me, very, very.
Oh, I am listening to you close.
This is very, very important. These organizations have one goal in mind: to put so much pressure on the American infrastructure at the border, and so much influence, concentration into this country, that eventually somebody's going to say, you know what? Okay, dumb it. It's done. Open the borders. Just let them come in because it's their right. They will literally open the borders.
That's what it seems like they're doing. There's enough brainwashing.
Pardon me?
There's enough brainwashing and infiltration and taking over of different, you know, like I feel like it's going to get to a point where there's enough socialists here to where they will just open the gates.
Well, it has to be policy. It has to be a president or a state like Nevada, like Arizona or California or Texas or New Mexico that literally sit and basically it would have to be at the federal level. And here's basically how it would go. The situation gets so bad in Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas that there's an outcry for people in these states to say, listen, just give them what they want so they'll leave us alone. We'll deal with it later. And they open the borders. That will literally be the demise of the country. And that's what
what do you think of, because I saw the other day, instead of fighting the left and they're wanting to give amnesty and let everybody in, I saw the Rhino squad up there, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, you know, the regular cast of characters. And they were pumping up and putting forward, Rick Scott, an amnesty bill for 1 to 2 million illegal immigrants that are living in this country. So instead of completely opposing, they were trying to offer a different type of, we could do this instead. And over the next 20 years,
Let's
1 million.
Start small.
Yeah, but isn't that what the left does? Don't they get us to concede little bits by little bits by little bits until all of a sudden McConnell's selling the farm?
Inch by inch, body by body.
Yeah, they don't work with us. They don't ever that's what I don't get, Hugo. And maybe you could enlighten me a little better. But the Republicans don't negotiate. They don't fight. We get bamboozled. We get screwed.
Believe it or not, and in contrast to what you just said, there are a huge number of people that are fighting the good fight right now.
There are.
Ted Cruz is one of those people.
Oh, yeah.
I've worked on his campaign before. And there's other people that you don't hear about. Their voices are being suppressed.
But there's a new silent majority of people that are scared to speak up.
Because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Well, and that's the whole thing. So how do we get people to stop being cowards and stand up? Yeah, and that's what I'm starting to think. It's going to be the small few people in this country that are audacious enough and against the system enough, to speak up and say the right things and inspire others to do so. I don't know what else is going to have to happen because I just don't see our leaders currently in Washington doing anything. I see Matt Gaetz and I see Ted Cruz and I see, Hawley. And so, I get that, but I'm talking in a majority sense. Yeah.
And it's going to, that's why I started EPAC.
Yep.
Because if the American people put up enough of a fight, guarantee you, we'll hold on to this country. We stand on the precipice. One of the things I want to. This is
back to the Tide Foundation real quick, because we're still talking about that. We're still going about the Tide Foundation. So they bring the money in, right? They say they're helping the refugees. That's where we left off with that. Right. That the Tides Foundation's helping the refugees. How are they helping the refugees? What's happening?
Basically, what they that's why I wanted to make. I want to go to the claims, but here's what the reality of it. Basically, they are a humanitarian group of people. They act in a humanitarian effort to go down there and help them get from Guatemala up to the border. And there's way states where they can get food, they can get clothing, they can get items, they can get sleeping bags, they can get transportation.
So they're smuggling the refugees, technically.
Assisting.
Ah.
Here's the thing. Here's a very important point. This is all orchestrated, like I said, to flood the country with immigrants and ultimately break down the borders and just let them run amok.
But so why? Why do this though?
Hang on. I'm going to make a claim right now.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee you. I'm sorry.
No, I said, all right. What's the claim? I'm listening. What are you going to guarantee me?
I can almost guarantee you that Pueblo and many other organizations, before these people even leave their country,
Yeah.
These organizations, these humanitarian organizations, are going down into these third world countries, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, with money. And they're saying, hey, we will help you. If you want to get to America and get out of this country, we can help you. In fact, here's a few $100, and that persuade you?
So you're believing that they're almost bribing these folks and saying, here's some money and there's more where that came from.
It's not bribing, it's coercing.
So they're taking people in bad situations.
They're actually assisting them financially, transportation, clothing, food,
it
water.
Almost seems like prey. It almost seems like they're preying upon these people. They're finding these weak people in poverty-stricken areas in very bad situations, and they're saying, "Hey, if you do this, there's more money where that came from," and they don't care about the risk or the issues that they might be facing. So Hugo, these people are basically taking advantage. I feel like they're taking advantage of people in third world countries that are poor, that don't have many options, that see the prospect, that maybe never even thought about the prospect of going to America. But these people you're telling me about, they go down and they offer them this incentive, this cash payment, this money, and these folks get coerced and manipulated into taking these dangerous journeys. And don't people along this journey that get coerced end up sometimes becoming drug mules, sex trafficked? There are real bad people that are involved in this whole thing.
Think of every possible scenario, and it goes on.
That's terrible.
And the cartels, believe it or not, and this is what I've been studying, and I have more information in our next podcast, how the cartels they're making billions, not millions, billions of dollars off these human traffickers. And here's a statement. We'll talk about this in the next podcast. They're providing labor into America. They're bringing people and they're giving them IDs. And real quickly, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here.
Sure.
The chicken processing industry in America processes and brings to market 9 billion pounds of chicken every year. It is 90%
a lot of chicken
processing industry, and it generates almost $2 trillion in income. Secondly,
$2 trillion?
$1.6 trillion.
That's a lot of cock-a-doodle-doo.
2 years ago. Having said that, the industry generates $278 billion in wages for its workers. That's what they pay out. What if you were a cartel and you could invest $10 million into an infrastructure? The cartels are in 230 cities in this country, and they own vast amounts of homes and real estate in North Carolina, California.
Well, it would make sense because that would legitimize their dirty money.
And and guess what? They bring the laborers up here, and they get them in the poultry plants. There's 233,000 poultry farms in this country, and there's 3,000 poultry processing plants.
So what are they? Are they smuggling drugs through them?
No, they're smuggling labor.
It's just people, just labor, just cheap labor.
Here's how they do it. I'm letting the cat out of the bag.
All right.
They bring these. All you need is, out of these 3,000 plants, all you need, each plant employs about 1,000 people. Did you hear about 2 or 3 years ago about ICE invading or basically raiding 7 plants and arresting almost 700 people?
I may have heard. I heard some stuff. I heard a lot about ICE in the last few years, but I don't remember. Enlighten me. Remind me.
Okay. 3 years, it was 3-4 years ago, about thereabouts.
Yeah.
ICE
touch on it lightly.
And they raided 7 poultry processing plants. They arrested almost 700 people that were there in the country illegally working and earning a living.
Man,
the cartels provide one of the $275 billion that's generated by in wages. The cartels are getting about 1% of that. Let's be
So they're getting their cut.
Let's be conservative.
Sure.
What's 1% of $278 billion? It's $27 billion. Let's say be
Wait, you say 278 billion?
$278 billion in wages are paid out to the poultry processing plant employees.
Yeah, they're still getting a lot. They're still getting a lot.
The point that I'm making, if you did the numbers, and this is a claim, if you had just 10 people in every one of these plants that the cartels are providing, and the cartel says, okay, we're going to get you up to America. We're going to get you some paperwork. We're going to get you a job at this poultry plant in Mississippi or North Carolina. And guess what? You can stay at this house that we bought. And when you get paid on Friday, you give us $100. You keep the rest. If you do that with enough people, you can generate easily $150, $200 million a year.
Oh, I can imagine.
I'm in the wrong business. But
yeah, we all are. But hold on.
To the point. What I wanted to talk to you about this Pueblos Sin Fronteras. The biggest point of that is that they are able to assist these migrants to come up here, and they're like you said, this is their goal, to use them to put so much pressure on the border and on the government that pretty soon they just say, okay, the heck with it, and the borders are wide open.
Well, so we see how that benefits the cartels, right? And we see how that benefits. My question is this, though, real quick. How does that benefit the Biden administration? Did they turn the machine back on purpose to benefit the cartels because there's something there
they don't care
between
about
them?
The cartels. These people will vote for Biden.
So basically what they're trying to do, so they see the shift. That's my question then. The left sees the shift towards conservatism from Americans, even in their own base. That, like the libertarians, the independents, different people. So they're importing new voters for themselves.
They got you.
So that's basically, they see the writing on the wall, the end of the Democrat Party's coming.
And believe it or not, you hit a very big point, because a very good friend of mine who was a director of operations for the CIA, she said, and she's brilliant. She said, what we're seeing is galvanizing the Republican Party and the Conservative Party in this country. And guess what? The Democrats realize that all they need to do is one really good screw up, and it's over for the Democratic Party. And at this particular point, I really don't see a Democratic Party anymore.
No, I don't either. So what you're saying, the cartels are basically just little side pieces. They're just picking up scraps.
Well, they're picking up scraps. But
yeah, they're helping. They're part of the system and all that good stuff. But they're not necessarily in cahoots or give a crap about Biden. Biden doesn't give a crap about them. They're just, if Biden was an alligator, they would just be a rat.
Exactly. But basically, what these cartels are the result of the policies.
So basically what you're saying is if it wasn't for these Democrat policies over the years, we may not have huge drug wars and cartel issues. We may not have some of these migrant problems, some of these Muslim terrorism problems that you see. What you're saying is it's quite possible that they were created by Democrats.
You know how many mass graves there are on the southern border? The cartels control the entire, from pillar to post, from Pacific to the Gulf of Mexico. They control the entire southern portion of the border. There are mass graves with 200 bodies in them, and a mass grave a few hundred yards away with 200 heads in them. Insane. But I'm going to leave you with insanity. This, and we'll close with this.
Definitely.
We'll do another one next month. The question I wanted to ask you was, how many nonprofit organizations in this country do you think there are?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, if I'm just thinking with the amount of people there are, maybe 50, 60, 70,000.
There are over 1.5 million nonprofit organizations in this country.
Really?
And the vast majority of them are left of center organizations. And here's one of the Tides Foundation is a left of center organization, and they are worth about $500 million. But here's the big boy in the organization. in this behemoth, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation. The Silicon Valley Community Foundation is a nonprofit organization that distributes grants around the country and around the world. It is worth over $13 billion in assets.
Ooh.
These are people. This is an organization that has people around the country and around the world donate to them, and it's what's called a pass-through organization. It is a left-of-center organization that is a pass-through. They seek out really wealthy people, and they say, would you like to help the refugees? Would you like to contribute to this? Would you like to contribute to that? And they get them to denote, and they get them actually to sign up. Some of these organizations, like Silicon Valley and Democracy Alliance, they actually have their members committed to a $200,000 donation mandatory every year. And many of these people are that donate money, donate in the millions of dollars. And they're all basically liberals, socialists, whatever. But these folks have like the best marketing and PR and street team on the planet. And that's what I wanted to tell you. There's a gentleman named Rob Stein. Rob Stein, in 2004, went and got a bunch of rich guys and went to Arizona and said, okay, rich guys, we need to sit down. We're going to lose this battle because guess what? The Republicans last year and every year have been spending about $300 million a year on lobbying and trying to get these Republican candidates in power. Well, we need to do something. And from there, he has put together a system called Built to Win. And it's a huge, enormously, just like Silicon Valley Community and Democracy Alliance. Democracy Alliance is worth $500 million. Jeez. But the point I want to make is we are in the wrong business. Well, yeah, tell me about it. The point that I want to make is Rob Stein and Democracy Alliance and many of these organizations set up an organization called Built to Win. They designed a system to go right after particular states, into particular counties in these states, in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, and Iowa, and Nevada, specifically to sway judges and to sway the elections. And that was put together about 15 years ago. Jeez. And we're seeing the results now. I mean, it seems like something that would be very productive for the Republicans to do, to have something like that, some sort of data analytics that would take a look at counties and states and cities and see where we could target. I mean, look, think about the opportunities just in the ghettos for Republicans. We write those areas off. But, I wonder sometimes if the most vulnerable of the left's areas are the areas they don't expect us to go after. And all these, all the disenfranchised, everything, 30%. Give me just 12% of the people that didn't vote in all those areas, in the inner cities, in the rural areas. You find that the majority of people that vote Republican are in rural areas. The majority of people that vote Democrat are in the inner cities. And what we need to do is seek those out. But the important thing that I really want to preface this, and I'll close with this, is that we need to do this legally and peacefully. The Democrats don't want to do anything that's legal. If they can win it, and it's called by any means necessary. The ends justify the means. They will burn, rape, pillage, do whatever it takes to win. And guess what? There's bodies all over the place. And guess what? And the election we just went through is the public trust has been violated. And if we, as Republicans, if we don't fight to restore the public trust and get our elections back on track, I'm telling you, we got to fight for this. And just like you said, we do it peacefully and righteously in accordance with the rule of law.
That's beautiful. Perfect. Exactly. And everybody, you can get Hugo Goerner's book, United States Socialist Republic. Like I've said before, I've read through it. I've studied it. Take a look at all these stickies, guys. You'll find it in the description section below. You can search for it, USSR, United States Socialist Republic, on Amazon, or of course, links below. Also, EPAC. EPAC is in the links below. What was the link again to EPAC?
It's Preserving America, EPAC.com. All
Preserving America, EPAC.com.
America, EPAC.com.
Perfect. That'll be in the description section below as well. Hugo, thanks for spending what we spent almost an hour together.
Yep, we did.
Man, that was a good conversation.
I always love these chats, buddy.
Well, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I think people need to hear this stuff, and they need to get different information, different perspectives and interpretations, and really see what could be happening and where this is going. I think the whole point of having a free press and having empowering information out there is a person's ability to take in information, and then that person's ability and right to make a decision about that information, whatever they want to believe or think. But they have the right to at least know.
Well, that is exactly right. But guess what? The information that all of us need is being suppressed, and it's being silenced, and it's being throttled back. Recently, I don't know which judge who it was, but he admitted that the information, these media organizations that are so hard left, they're suppressing the information that the American public needs to know. And I'll leave you with this. There is a lady, her name is Linda Darling Hammond. She is head of the California Education Committee. She was part of Joe Biden's transition team. I can show you an affidavit that is 10 pages long of 1,500 people that were on his transition team, just to transfer from him to the presidency. Then they moved on. But Linda Darling Hammond is an extremely big problem for educators in this country. She is, if she's not a socialist, you can.
We'll have to save that for the next one, man.
You got it. But
we'll have to. So Hugo, thank you so much, and we'll talk next time. I'm sure we'll have so much more to talk about, brother.
You got it.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview between Hugo and I. I wouldn't even call it an interview. I'd call it just an awesome conversation. All right. I really had a great time. And I hope you'll support EPAC. I hope you'll check out a copy of his book, United States Socialist Republic. You could find both links in the description section below. Of course, wherever you're watching this, please follow along. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Please share. Please leave a comment. Do all that good stuff. We need your help. We need you. All right, folks, we need you to make this happen. All right. Without you, we would have nothing. We'd be talking to ourselves. I'd be having a podcast with my dogs. All right. So I just want to stress to you how important you are in the mix. All right. So when you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and when you see those notifications and you click them, and then when you leave a comment, it lets the robot at the other end, the algorithm, if you will, it lets it know that it needs to show us more. It needs to show our stuff to other patriots. Now, we're shadow banned everywhere, but it still doesn't hurt. All right. It doesn't hurt to try to push forward through that censorship wall. So please do me that favor. All right. If you're on Gab, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Odyssey, American_Reveille, guys. If you're on Parler, I'm at the James Lane. You can reach me at jameslane@AmericanReveille.com. Guys, the sponsor of this show, Ancient Life Oil, best CBD oil on the market. All right, guys, best CBD oil on the market by far. Absolutely 100%, bar none. All right, I've been using it. I've been enjoying it. It's keeping the anxiety and stress levels down. It is awesome. All right, guys, do me a favor. Stick around. Just stick around for a minute or two after this episode. All right. I put a little ad together about Ancient Life Oil. It will tell you everything you need to know about the awesomest CBD oil on the market. All right, guys, that's ancientlifeoil.com. Use promo code James for free shipping and handling. They're not only the sponsors of this show, I actually use their product. All right, guys. So seriously, check them out. ancientlifeoil.com, promo code James. All right, guys. So follow me everywhere. Share the word. Be good. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you'd really like to help us out, go to www.americanreveille.com, hit the support us tab, and donate to our cause. You can also find that link in the description section below. Don't forget to sign up to the newsletter. I could literally do 45-minute show just on telling you my links. Just look in the description section below. I'd greatly appreciate it, guys. All right. So this has been episode 104. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye. Let me get your attention for a second. I want to tell you about something. I want to share something with you that's very near and dear to me. All right, guys. I have joint pain. I'm sure it's no secret by now, all right? I have joint pain, I have hip pain, I have elbow pain, I have inflammation, all right? I get stressed out. I'm going through so much political news doing this podcast, so much. You can imagine how stressful that is, all right? How much anxiety that can cause, how many sleepless nights I have. But folks, I've been taking CBD oil for a while now. All right, for a while now, and it's fantastic. And a while ago, just a little while ago, I came across Ancient Life Oil, all right? And I got it from ancientlifeoil.com. And this stuff is fantastic, all right? It's the best source, the best and most trusted source for CBD oil in the United States. It's 100% pure. It's 100% THC free, no psychoactive effects, no high, nothing like that, just pure CBD, pure relief from all of those issues, relief from sleeplessness, relief from anxiety, relief from stress, from inflammation, right? Relief from joint pain, relief from all of these things that could really hinder your daily life, your daily activities, and really put you in a bad place. This stuff lifts your mood up. It's fantastic. All right, it's legal in all 50 states. People are really experiencing wonderful change in their life, basically doing something that people have been doing for thousands of years, guys. If you head to ancientlifeoil.com, ancientlifeoil.com, the same place I went, all right, the same place I went to get the stuff, you can go on there, use promo code James, James, at ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, Life Oil, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James, James, promo code James. Free shipping and delivery, folks. Free shipping and delivery. Guys, this is a great product. You are missing out if you need to do CBD and you're just not doing it for some reason, guys. I don't know what's stopping you anymore. It's 2021. Folks, if you want relief from these issues, you want to do it in a natural way without taking medications, you want to do it in a way that's helpful. I have found CBD oil to be very beneficial, and I believe it will be very beneficial for you as well. So one more time, ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James, free shipping and delivery, folks. Give it a shot. I really, really know it'll make you a believer just like I am. All right, folks, let's get back to the show.